Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace here. Look, I have become convinced that we use the term education far too loosely. We have created a situation in which the term has become completely ambiguous. To me, education has always and still is the act of empowering and preparing our youth to go out into a world that is inherently hostile towards them and not only compete, but win. It is not simply the attainment of academic skills. It is the understanding of oneself. It is the understanding of one's role. It is the understanding of one's identity. It's embracing one's identity and using the gifts within that identity to go out and make a difference. It's time for a change.
So good morning, class. Tomorrow I will be taking a day off and we will be having a substitute teacher tomorrow, or teacher, because in Jamaica we don't say teacher, we say teacher.
My brothers and sisters of color, we gotta do better. No survival in this era if we turning on each other. Like a family reunited, they hate it when we together. Sit down, let's talk about it. Listen to the teachers, let them tell you. You want facts behind your questions, Dr. Rick, give them the answer. Followed by wise words, introducing Dr. Michael Blanchard. Many guests and activists every week leading by example. When there's problems, there's solutions. Together we are the answer. The teachers. When I was young, thought as a child, but when I became a man, stand on my own with a smile. Life a lesson in this roller coaster, just go through the trials. Ancestors could have been royalty, with your lifestyle make them proud. Your education is not the learning of facts, let it sink. Preparation of training that's in your mind when you think. The actions of your behavior influences your beliefs. So the action in actuality makes it reality. One had a dream, people dying over materialistic things. Amongst your peers you can only talk women, cars and bling. We ain't on the same page, you don't want the same thing. How to build and expand. When I talk amongst kings, you should build your brother up when he fall back. Out to get a laugh now. Do what you can, you pray the same love passed down. People selfish, they'll drain you till you pass out. Open your mind, pay attention, don't be a victim to the system. Some people physically locked up, some people mentally in prison. Removing the fathers, giving poor benefits to the women. Equality and economy, benefiting their business. My brothers and sisters of color, we gotta do better. No survival in this era if we turning on each other. Like a family reunited, they hate it when we together. Sit down, let's talk about it. Listen to the teachers, let them tell you. You want facts behind your questions, Dr. Rick, give them the answer. Followed by wise words, introducing Dr. Michael Blanchard. Many guests and activists every week leading by example. When there's problems, there's solutions. Together we are the answer. The teachers. Indiana, Iowa, Illinois. The teachers. Ohio, Tennessee, Alabama, Florida. The teachers. North Carolina, South Carolina, all the way to Georgia. The teachers. Kansas to Missouri, Kentucky to Virginia, Texas, Oklahoma. The teachers. Louisiana, Mississippi, New York and Pennsylvania, North and South Dakota. The teachers. Washington State to Nevada, Utah to Colorado, Arizona, California. The teachers. My brothers and sisters of color, we gotta do better. No survival in this era if we turning on each other.
All right. Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace here, dropping in on you. We have with us a couple of people who were responsible for getting that production. Hold on one second. Getting that production to the stage that you just saw. St. Brown, the artist, actually just happened to be kin to Dr. Blanchard. and kind of caught on to what we was doing and just did an intro for us. Dr. Blanchard put his mind into full stream motion and decided that, hey, man, we're going to push it all the way. We made it a full LP. Well, I'll say they made it a full LP. I've been really in the background in this. This is really Dr. Blanchard's baby. I'm just used to saying we because we're so closely connected, but this is his thing. And he pulled in some people, and we have with us now Manab, who was the film's editor. We also have with us brother, I want to make sure I pronounce his name right, brother Ernest Davis, who also produced and shot the video. And Dr. Blanchard is the executive producer, and I also had a small role. They let me do something at the beginning, so I felt kind of important because they let me do the intro.
So Doc, you are the head. You know, you're way too modest, man. So a year ago, just so Manab and Ernest know the whole story and the viewers do, about a year ago, I guess it would have been in October, Dr. Wallace approached me with the idea of having a show. And I was like, well, okay, yeah, you know, we can do it. We can do this. And so we had to come up with a name for the show. And of course, the name that I came up with was the Teachas, because, and the whole concept is that we're all teachers, or Teachas, as they say in Jamaica. We're all teachers, and we can all learn from each other. We wanted to have a show in which we highlighted grassroots people, just like you two, who are out here, you know, trying to affect change and are change agents in our communities and around the world. In the case of Manab, around the world. So that's how this came to be. We started the first show in October. We had some real flaky music in the first couple of shows. I said, Doc, we got to get a theme song, man. So got in touch with Sane. Sane put together about a minute and a half intro. I thought it was dope. I said, hey, man, we gotta make this into a whole single. He did that. And really the whole thing is starting to morph into the Teachas platform with Alt Black News and Nyota Uhura also helping to build that platform to affect change, where everybody gets on the Teachas bandwagon and everybody's a teacher, and we can push change that way and have a whole entire educational curriculum and platform with also you, Dr. Wallace. So I just wanted to let everybody know how all this happened. It was the brainchild of Dr. Wallace, but then, you know, I just kind of picked up the name and ran with it and tried to create a platform in which we can build together. So again, Ernest Davis and Manab, we're glad to have you. Let's talk a little bit about the video, man. I mean,
Manab is on mute. I can see that his icon says that you can't.
Yeah, it was background noise that was actually killing the feed, but we can bring him in.
So we're gonna have to mute it again, I guess.
Yeah, you got a lot of background noise, Manab. Can you go somewhere quieter?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, Ernest, one of the things I wanted to do was have an educational start of the video, since, you know, we're talking about the Teachas and that, and so it was important for me to have Dr. Wallace come up with that particular intro, because it sets the groundwork for the entire video. I wanted to have it in a classroom. As I said, you know, I came up with an outline for you, but at the point which we veered away from the classroom, then you came up with the rest of the video in terms of how we shot it and the themes and all of that. So talk a little bit about that, man. You know, getting that together and working on that.
Coming into it, you know, just listening to the song, every video that I do, I just listen to it, close my eyes, and visualize, and you know, that's what I saw. I just saw him being a teacher, like you said, and I'm under the same umbrella, you know, with what I'm doing. It's just a little bit more faith-based. So I understood the concept, and once when you said classroom scene, I knew exactly what to do. So, you know, I just took off from there, and I got kids all around my neighborhood and I'm always out with the camera, so it wasn't nothing to get them and ask their family to get them out there, and you know, it
And
was
Doc,
it was,
it
it
was
was dope.
Ernest's idea to come up with the kids, to have the kids chasing Sane, and they had the part where they actually threw the paper at him. You know, the
Yeah.
substitute teacher. We all used to give. I know I used to give all of my substitute teachers a hard time when I was growing up. I know we all did that. So I thought that
Yeah,
was kind of fun to do that, where they throw the paper at him when he comes in,
yeah,
Right.
and then later on you have them chasing him and running. And I like the video. It's a serious video, but it's also fun too. You know.
mhm, yeah, and that's how you got to keep it to get that message across. If you're too serious with it, they won't take it serious. You
Right.
know, the viewers. So I love the video, and I'm glad that y'all brought me aboard to be a part in, getting my box to make something dope, man, for real.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so, Doc, go ahead and expound some more, because I think that um, the intro is good in touching on how we view education, and you being your area of expertise in the world of academia is in education. Your doctorate is in education. So um, when we talk about education, we're not just talking about academic skills.
No.
Right.
Right. So what do you think some of the things that we send in this message, because there are lyrics, and we're from the original era of hip hop.
Right.
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 And so we're taught to hear the lyrics first.
Right. Right.
We got hip hop before the dope beats took center
Right.
stage.
Right.
Now you can hide inferiority behind beats.
Right. It's all about the
Yeah.
snare.
Right.
It's all
Right.
about
So
the
now
808.
it's the production
Right.
instead of the substance.
Right.
When we were coming up, it was the substance, and
Right.
then you got the music and it caught on. But it was that. So that kind of also lines up with where we're at right now. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to get back to, like you, Doc. I grew up in the genesis of hip hop, and grew up with Boogie Down Productions and Public Enemy, KRS-One, all of those guys,
Big
Cool Herc, Grandmaster Flash, George Clinton, all of those. But all of their music had a message, just like Dr. Wallace said. Right now the beats are more important, actually, to this generation. And so you do have to have the beats. But I think that we can also have a positive message, and that message has to be uplifting one another. It has to be a message of upliftment, rather than, the lyrics that we tend to hear that are tearing us down. I mean, at what point do we get? I get the fact that, for example, back when NWA came out, people said, well, we got to tell what's going on in the hood. We got to tell what's going on in our neighborhoods. I get that part. But at what point do we move on from that? I mean, we've told those stories for 30 years now, Doc? We've told those stories about what's going on. At some point, we got to get to solutions. And that's what the Teachas platform is about. That's what this actual platform, this whole platform is about. And this podcast is about coming up with solutions and bringing on grassroots people, because those are where the solutions are at, whether it's in education or law enforcement or poverty, any of those issues that we're facing worldwide. It's not, to me, it's not going to be the academians like Dr. Wallace.
Here comes saying.
Okay.
There we go.
It's not going to be the academians that solve our problems. It's going to be the grassroots people who are out there every day, like you all, who are dealing with problems in our community. Hey, Sam, what's going on, man?
How you doing?
Good to have you. Good to have you, man.
Had a hard time trying to get in.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
You're here now. Hey, Ernest.
Yeah.
Do me a favor and introduce Manab, man, because he's just sitting here, and I want the people to know how he plays a role in this, and that he did his work all the way over from India.
Okay.
And tell us how that connection happened and what role he played in bringing this to where we're actually having a full-length video.
Okay. So 2 years ago, I've been trending in India. I've been trending in India for 2 years. So all the videos that I do, I'm an actor. I did a movie in Chicago called Disconnected. So from that buzz and me just doing my own little skits and everything like that, and my music, it kind of just spread up over there, and all kind of people were flooding me with inboxes from India, and two kids. It was another dude named Monir Lee and another kid named Manad, and they wanted me to do a song with Monir Lee, and I did the song with him, and Manab edited the video, and after we were done with that project, he just stayed in contact with me, man, and was like, "Yo, let's just start a company. Let's start doing this." And I'm like, "Man, you all the way over there?" Like, he was like, "No, just video it and send me the edits. I'll edit. You shoot it." And I don't know how to edit. So I was like, "All right, bet." You know what I'm saying? And it took me a little bit of time from everything that I was doing, and I ended up getting my own camera, and here we are. I send him the files, and after I'm done shooting, and he'll edit the video, man.
Yeah.
For real, just like that.
All right,
Our band is like brothers,
so Manab, what is it like having this international connection where you're working with someone across the globe to accomplish something, and you see your work being put forth in an entirely different country?
First of all, I was 2 years back. I was in an Indian company called Z Music Company, and then I met Dopey, my brother. Big shout out to Dopey, and he gave me some works of international works, and I did that, and he paid me, and I did continue, and then I got Keys works, and I worked with him too, and then I got the Teachas video a few months, like 1 month back. I got the Teachas video, and I did that, and I'm very glad to do it.
You say, how is it having a connection with me and you so far away? He's like, how is that? How does it feel accomplishing something so far away?
I'd like to say Dopey to say about it.
Yeah, he kind of don't understand. You gotta like make it short for him. You make it short for him, he'll understand.
Okay.
You got to shorten up your questions for me. He'll hear you.
So Ernest, tell the background story or why he ended up with it also.
Oh yeah, well, I was working with a couple other guys. I own GOD Film and Visuals, and I brought a guy on board, and he had the camera, and Dr. Blanchard and Sane hit me up. So, I was like, yo, let me shoot this video. We can go half and half, and dude seemed cool, but I found out that he's on drugs, and he wanted to take it. He was just acting so bogus, man. He took his camera and everything, so I was without. I was like, man, I can't mess with this dude. He's doing drugs, so I had to go out and get my own camera and everything. In the midst of shooting the video, we had already shot scenes and everything. So I'm like, man, we finna get this done. And I went and got a camera and a lens, and linked up with Sane, and we finished it up, man. But man, everything, every negative force in the universe was trying to make us not put this video out. I'm trying to tell you, and I'm glad that we fought it and we pushed past it and made it happen, man. For real. But you can't work with everybody, and everybody ain't built to push and persevere through the adversity. So, I'm glad we got a solid team, and I got somebody reliable like Manab, who's across the globe, that I can send for, and he'll make it happen.
Yeah, Doc, the other thing that was interesting, we wanted to actually shoot it at a school in South Bend, where I'm from. But man, they gave me so much. I was telling Ernest, they gave me so much paperwork to even try to get that done. I was only home over the spring break because we were out on spring break down here in South Florida. And so they give me this big thing of paperwork and everything. And they wanted several $100,000 worth of insurance and all of this stuff, to just film a few minutes in the school. So that's when I got with Ernest, and I said, Ernest, I gotta have something that symbolizes a classroom, or at least looks similar to a classroom. So Give him the story on the church we used for that, because I
Okay,
know
yeah. Well,
background.
I know the pastor of a church. You know, I used to attend this church when I was young, and you know, he helps people in the community or whatever. So I hit him up, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I got it upstairs." And I went upstairs to the church and checked it out, and I seen school desks, and I'm like, "Yo, I need all these school desks." You know, I seen a chalkboard. I'm like, "Man, we finna put this together." And Blanchard pulled up, and he came upstairs, and that's when we started putting it together. He was like, "Man, we can use this room over here, and you know, bring these over here like that." He put it up. He put everything together faster than I did, for real. But it came together nice, and you know, it was dope. You know, and hey, yo, that's just what happened when you with motivated people, man, for real. And we just made it happen. I'm a dude that can build. I can take nothing and turn it into something, for real. And hey, I got resources out here that I can put together and, you know, make happen what I need to make happen, for real. So
Yeah, and we had a good time with the young people. They had a good time there, and we fed them and everything, and they
yeah,
were able to
pizza.
learn. Yeah, pizza and hamburgers and everything, and
Yeah,
they were able to learn how a video is put together. You know, the educational side of it, showing how really easy and simple it is to do this work. You know, with all the technology we have today,
yeah,
you know, people are putting movies together on their own dime. We had a brother on. Tony Lindsay a while back, who basically financed his own movie. So people are independently putting works on now, and it's just amazing how easy it is to not only produce music, music videos, and actual movies.
mhm.
You said you're an artist, Ernest. You're an artist and producer. Talk a little bit about some of the stuff that you've already done. In addition to this, you did some acting.
Yeah. I did another foreign type. Well, I did a Hispanic film called La Pentecosta um, Metarosa or something like that. I had basic Spanish lines. You know, I played a school teacher in that out in Chicago, in Little Mexico. That was cool. Shout out to Artemio Gonzalez on that. Uh, Dorian Johnson, like I said, I did Disconnected too. Shout out to him. And got plenty of works. Keys Burks, he's a big filmographer out in Chicago and Kalamazoo. Worked with him. Uh, he done shot videos for Bizarre from D12 to Rod Digger. Uh, you know, it can go on. He has a lot of signed people who just got signed under his belt. Um, who else? I did do stage plays too, you know, and I got into the videography thing, you know, picking up the camera, you know, just being around it all the time. And I was out at a wedding in Chicago, and I met a dude named Quick Savo, and he had his own camera and shot his own videos. And he showed me that he shot a music video for Boosie, and he shot a music video for Boosie's son. And he was like, "Yeah, man, I rap, I do my own videos, man. You know, everything in house." And I'm like, "Damn, that don't sound like a bad idea," you know. And I was kind of pondering the idea for a while, and then that's when Sane and Dr. Blanchard hit me up, and I'm like, "Man, that's just the universe telling me to take that leap of faith and do it." So, you know, that's just the core of it, man. I'm a hard worker in it. I've been doing it since middle school. Um, you know, with stage plays, I did South Pacific. I played as Luther Billis. Romeo and Juliet, I played the lead role, one of the lead roles as in Benvolio. Um, yeah, the list can go on and on, man. You know, but I just love the art. I love everything about it. And I'm falling in love with the background too, because you don't need to be in front of the camera all the time. You know, you can let other people take the spotlight and put forth, you know, a great visual to portray and get across that message that you're trying to get across to change lives and impact people. And I really feel like that's what it's all about out here, bro.
So let's bring in the artist, the pen, because I think that he did a great job. I mean, right out of the box when he was asked to do the intro. As far as I'm concerned, he killed it. It was simplistic, but it was to the point. It was relevant, but it had flair, and it was from where I come from. It was connected to what I consider to be authentic hip hop. And so Sane Brown, we're just gonna say Sane, and Doc, I want you to do this because this is family. Well, we're all family, but this is family, and it was your idea. So I want you to kind of bring Sane in. We've had him on before already,
Right.
but bring him back in for those who didn't get to meet him the first time, and take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the talent that Sane had for a while, and you know, I wanted to give him the opportunity to bring this message and try to get us back to the point in hip hop where it's message oriented. You know, like we talked about earlier, it's not just about the beats; it's about the lyrics. It's about motivating people, encouraging people, and so last October when we started the podcast, in November when I was home for Thanksgiving back in South Bend, I went to him and I said, "Hey, can you do this intro?" And I mean, he wrapped it up so fast. We had a conversation, and I told him, what I wanted, what kind of lyrics, and it was just amazing that someone in his generation could actually understand, what hip hop used to be, and actually put it on a pen and a pad. I mean, he is more talented than he really knows. I mean, the sky is the limit for Sane. All he's got to do is stay focused and put forth the effort. And he's definitely going to go places in music because he's just that talented. To do what he did so quickly. And I don't know if you all watched the video, but he almost became another person in that video. Ernest, I'm sure Ernest probably saw it too, being a film person.
Oh yeah.
He actually becomes another personality. If you saw some of the facial gestures he made, and some of the, he just became another person, man. And he had fun with the kids, and it came across very authentic in the video to me. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that, Sane, because you almost become a different person, because the person you are when people meet you you become a whole different person when that camera comes on, man. I saw it flip on in
you. Yeah. A lot of that's got to do with a lot of my upbringing. Growing up, I was always taught, you're black. I mean, it's gonna be a lot different. Even though the laws are the same for everybody, it may be rougher on you. So I use that as an advantage. I like that face card where people would kind of judge me about what they perceive, until it's a conversation at hand, and then they realize I'm far more intelligent than what they thought by looking. So that's why they always tell don't judge a book by its cover.
Right.
But when it comes into play, like far as with children as well, I got a love for kids. So like you said, it was just genuine, it's authentic. It was something that came natural, and like every thought to put far as a piece to go into the video, it really worked out, and the kids enjoyed themselves too.
Oh, absolutely. And Ernest, those kids came from the Elkhart area, right? Most of them, they came from
Elkhart County.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people out here, man. So if I ask, more than likely, I can get people to be a part of a production. So
yeah, and that's what I like about you, man. The other thing I learned about you is you're very community oriented, man. I looked at some of your videos, and there's, he's a music artist also, Doc, and one of his videos, I mean, he actually is feeding people, man. Talk a little bit about that, Ernest. I mean, you had a situation where you were actually feeding people at one of your shoots or something. I think it was.
Yeah. That's a neighborhood where I used to hustle at. I know a homie that got killed behind that church. That's a sister church of my church. So, I came up with a song called "So Elkhart" to put on for the community,
Right.
and to put something positive back in. And I hit up, my homies around the area, and told them, "Yo, y'all out here hustling, man. Donate $50. I'm finna feed the homeless out here." And they was all for it. Oh yeah, for sure. So I went to Little Caesars, got all those pizzas, set up the tables and everything. I didn't pay for nothing. My homies did. My homies put on for their community too. So it was a group effort with that, and it's a very positive vibe from that, and the people appreciated it. You know what I'm saying? And it felt good giving back to a city where I was brought up, for real.
I just want to kind of segue in on that. I think it's so important that we look at that. When I sit up and I look at what we have the capacity to do versus what we're actually doing, that's one of my greatest frustrations, is that we have the capacity to be far more impactful in our communities than we are. And so we talk about boots on the ground, grassroots efforts. This is what we're talking about. And Doc, you know how hard it is to get people to support that type of work. And and what came to me immediately when I heard him say he used to hustle on that block.
Right.
And so he went to his homies, and he got his homies who are still hustling and getting it in that hood, the ones that are more likely to be frowned upon. And we do have to be aware of what's going on in our hood, and we need to protect our hood. But these are the people who are actually putting the money into the community. It wasn't the church he went to and got the money.
No.
The church didn't do it. He did it. And it wasn't a nonprofit organization that did it. And the first thing that pops into my mind when he says that is Darren Seals. Because when you talk about Ferguson, you can't say Ferguson and not say Darren Seals. First thing you say when you say Ferguson, say Mike Brown.
Right.
The next thing you have to say is Darren Seals. And obviously you got Neota, and you got a bunch of other people that came in, and a lot of them lost their life behind Darren. Darren was first, and then that was a series of other brothers who were all from the streets. And see, that's what people don't get. Like, these was guys that were from the streets that decided that something was bigger than them.
Mm-hmm.
That something was bigger than them that they cared about. And Darren literally transformed. And that's the beauty of what's there. And, like when I think about Black Men Lead, when I think about your wraparound services, when I think about all the things we're trying to do, that's what people are missing.
Yeah.
We've been trained to throw our people away. That's why you get, when we see something go on, we go. Now, don't get me, there's some incorrigible people that we need to deal with.
Right.
That are never going to be good for our community. But that's why you get us talking about how horrible a person is when they get caught doing something in our community or doing something in their community and get caught. But then we'll turn around to see them. They'll have somebody doing something way more horrible, like killing 10 people.
Right.
And they'll sit up and try to categorize it in a way where you understand why he did it.
Mm-hmm.
Because their mindset is unless we have to do it for a strategic reason. Now, they'll throw one under the bus if there's no other option. But if it's a way to sit up and soften it, why? Because they're not just talking about that one person. Every perception of an individual becomes a part of the whole reality. How you are being perceived at this moment just doesn't land on you, especially with Black people.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with Black people. I remember growing up and as a kid, and this is where I first learned it before psychology was ever something that I knew I was going to be in, but it was the beginning of it because I needed to understand it. I would be sitting down and I was reared by my great grandparents, and the news would be on. They watched the freaking news like clockwork. 5 o'clock news, 6 o'clock news, it was on. Not 10 o'clock news, it was on. But there'll be a story, and they'll start the story with a suspect did blah, 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 blah. They haven't shown the suspect. They haven't said whether they were Caucasian or African-American, but they're talking about it. And my grandmother, Lord, please don't let this be a Black man. Why? Because it doesn't just weigh on him. Right. It's a reflection of us. That's the way we've been conditioned. And so what we don't understand is that when we have an opportunity to show that just because you're over here now doesn't mean that's where you have to end up. Because see, none of us are perfect. If we're going to be honest about it, we've all evolved from somewhere. And if you're lucky, you get to evolve into something that allows you to leave a legacy. So I just saw that, and like immediately when he started talking about he used to hustle in the hood that he shot his video in, where he was feeding the people in, and that he actually went back to brothers who are still out there to actually fund the feeding. It immediately made me think, man. It makes me think about Darren Seals, man, and the sacrifice that brother made, and that there are other cats out there that we need to be connecting with that can actually have an impact, because the hood knows them, the hood understands them, and they know the hood. And this is transformation, but most of us aren't willing to put our hands on that. I do that on a regular basis because a lot of the young men I deal with Black Men Lead on the street.
Yeah.
And if you want to be honest with, are killers. But the bottom line is, if you're still out here, I got to hold you accountable, which means I got to put my life on the line coming out there dealing with you. I don't know what mood you in one day I get out there. I don't know who coming for you, and I'm standing next to you. And but I come from there, and so I know what's out there. Like I said, I ain't always been me. So we are, but that's the thing. This whole idea that everybody's going to be a lawyer, an attorney, that they're going to come from prestigious backgrounds isn't realistic, because the hood ain't even trying to hear them, to be totally honest.
Right.
So we've got to have that connectivity, and I just want to touch on that. Doc, you can take it from there.
Oh, absolutely. And this is what I was talking about earlier. The music has to get back to that social consciousness. When you were talking, Doc, you made me think about when you brought up Darren Seals. I'm like, why hasn't anybody made a song talking about him? Think about that. If you remember back in the 80s, you had songs. I remember when Yusef Hawkins was killed in New York. Tupac, mentioned him in music. I don't even hear his name mentioned in music. You guys are artists. Have you heard of him being mentioned in music? Have you heard of any?
I don't hear about any social anything in music, and that's what's pissing me off about the music nowadays. It's more about gangs and famous rappers shooting at each other and killing each other. You know what I'm saying? And I don't care nothing about that, man. There's so many important things going on in the world right now, man. Y'all got so much to pull from, and y'all pulling from your hood and the homie that y'all just smoked and everything. Like, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear about my people getting killed no more by each other or the police. You know what I'm saying? So that shit, I don't like hearing that shit, man. It's so much more to talk about. For real, bro. I come from the era of like after y'all, you know what I'm saying, Twister, you know what I'm saying, the spit flow. Like, your flow is what got you recognized. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I learned to have chops and everything. So I was a quick rapper, I learned to slow it down, but I also, listen to old school. So I heard the messages from back then. I heard the messages my brother was listening to. You know what I'm saying? Right. I listened to Queen Latifah on my own. I can't bring up no songs or nothing, but they was spitting about social injustice. You know what I'm saying? Public Enemy, they fight the power. They was talking about social injustice, period. And we ain't talking about that. We trying to look flashy, look good, throw money while doing it, and have the baddest bitch while doing it. And that shit is not going to get you nowhere. And it's setting the youth up. It's setting even grown folks like myself up for failure, man. This shit is dumb to me. I'm sorry, excuse my language. It's dumb. I'm an artist, man, and we can touch way more. There's so much more to touch just in that little spectrum, man. People are missing it.
I mean, I don't, working in the school district, I have seen, and Doc knows this, I have seen such an increase in violence at schools in America. We had the Texas shooting a few weeks ago, and it's something that we definitely have to address in our schools. We have a mental health crisis in our schools where young people are actually continuing to make threats on schools via social media, even with the threat of being locked up for committing terrorist acts. So that has to give us room for pause when our kids are still doing that, knowing that this is something that they could face We have a mental health crisis. We have a crisis with education needing a total reformation. And hopefully, music like this and Dr. Rick's program, Black Men Lead, the Teachas platform, hopefully we can build on this. Saying your work, we need you and Ernest because you're the connection to this generation. More likely to listen to you than they are two old guys like Dr. Wallace and I. So we got to put that message out there, man. We got to put that positive message out there that we need to be building each other up. We need to be building up our communities, building our own schools and our own businesses. And I am seeing that. I am seeing the millennials are moving in that direction to start their own businesses and looking more to ownership than my generation that was taught, hey, go get a college degree and go get a job. That can't be the message anymore. The message has to be, learn a skill. I've always said, Doc, the best education is the one you give yourself. Institutional educations are fine, but they're more indoctrination rather than allowing you the creative ability to do your own thing. And millennials are in that mode where they don't want a cookie cutter education. They're going on social media and YouTube and IG and learning things that they can use to make money. And that's why you see a lot of folks are simply not coming back to the job market now, where they're doing their own thing. They're becoming entrepreneurs, and I think it's great. I think it's great what millennials are doing.
Right. You know that that's a big thing for me as a person that's been self-employed the majority of his life. And I've had my ups and downs like anyone else. But one of the things that we teach at Black Men Lead is business ownership, self-sufficiency, the things that give you power. You cannot have power if you're dependent upon someone else for your livelihood. And this isn't taking shots at anybody who works a job. You have to pay your bills, but you should have a plan of using your gift that someone else is now exploiting for their benefit to make a way for you and your family. And so what this generation is doing, and that's one of the things that we talk about with Black Men Lead, with the principles of Black manhood. First and foremost, we talk about that a Black man never brings harm to a Black woman. Number one principle in Black Men Lead, the 11 principles of manhood. And the first one is a Black man never causes harm to a Black woman, physically, emotionally, psychologically, ever. Your number one responsibility is to protect. Number one, no matter what. And that's something that I push. Doc, you know how I am about that. I've been called a simp. I've been called a whole bunch of other things because we're in this day now where it's open season on women because of who they are and how they can be. Well, when I was taught that principle, women were like that then. Women had mouths. Women would say, women would pop off. There were women doing stuff that we didn't approve of. But how I behave as a man isn't dependent upon what someone else is doing. It's depending on my own character. So I build who I am in myself so that when I encounter people, I deal with them from where I'm at and not what I see them doing. You know how many people can change? You know how many people have changed by me treating them how I saw them through who they were being versus me treating them how they were acting? You know how many people I've gotten to change their lives because I treated them better than what they were behaving? And that's the principle. But the other part of the manhood thing is where we're at now, what we're talking about. You have to own something. You have to own that. Everybody talks about value. And most people will tell you that your time is your most valuable asset. I don't believe that. I believe your time is your most second valuable asset. Your most valuable asset is your mind. Your mind is a resource that is actually infinite. Everything that you see, this show that you're watching now came from my mind. Everything that you see from Rick Wallace Enterprises, from the Visionators Institute, the Odyssey Media Group, the Odyssey Project, Myriad Business Solutions, Master Fitness 21, and the other 40 companies that I created over the last 30 years came from here. I fed my family from here. Now, that was a part where I was an athlete, but the vast majority, I've totally, extremely out-earned myself from here versus what my body earned me. And this thing will be alive long after this thing starts to do stuff that you can't explain, and you're trying to get it to act right. Plus, you get this thing right, it's easier to get this thing right. The mind impacts the body. But so we're teaching these kids that, but the problem is we have an entire community that does not even see the benefit in it. So, you know, I don't want to build, I hate to get on my soapbox, but when I see the talent that's sitting in front of me now, these young cats, I see our future. We always talk about the children of the future. Whitney had a song. We talk about the children of the future. Well, something that valuable as the future survival of your race has to be handled with greater care than what we're handling it. Back to the concept of the classroom and the whole reason we put this thing together, Doc. We need to understand that we're not teaching them. Education isn't just the attainment of academic skills.
No, it's not.
It's the holistic preparation of your youth that prepares them to go out into a world that's inherently hostile towards them and not only compete, but win.
Absolutely.
So in essence, where education starts is not with 1 + 1 = 2, but with your name is, you are here, you are from, and because you are. And what follows you are, in my book, I am. I make the introduction in my book, I am. I say, I am are the most two powerfulest words in the English lexicon. You know why? Whatever follows sets the stage of your life. I am. What follows I am is going to direct the course of your life. Well, we get to tell them who they are. When we had Latava on, and she talked about how she reared her kids and she isolated them from that entire system for the early part of their lives to the point that those kids can actually remember the first time they saw a white person. Why did she do that? She did that because she knows that that system and being around those people would interfere with what she was trying to put in them, that they can do anything, that there's nothing in this world they're going to face that they can't overcome, that they have power within themselves. So they came up, by the time they were exposed to the system, they were already indoctrinated into the power of self. That's education. And then you expand it out and you give the skills. But what I can tell you is you can take somebody, and I know this for a fact, you can take somebody who knows who they are here, don't have skills, but know who are they here, and you can take a person over there and they don't know who they are and they got all the skills. This guy's going to outperform them every time because he knows who he is. And so that's the thing that we're talking about, man.
And,
so,
that's what's missing when I talk about reform, Doc, in education, because I look at my whole upbringing, man. What I was missing on all these years, I never learned my purpose. And there's no curriculum or program or plan within K through 12 or even higher education that can help you find your purpose. And I've talked to people our age in their 50s and have said, I've never been able to find out what my purpose is. And if you don't have a purpose, then how can you even reach that destination as far as education? You know, how can you reach a goal when you don't even know what your purpose is in life?
Right. And that is so huge. That is so huge that we have to really and truly look at that. One thing that we don't do in this generation, when I look back at history and I go back, you look back at history and you go back 3,000, 4,000 years ago, that was a focus on the gift of a child. The child was literally educated around their gift. Mm-hmm. Everything was built around what their natural, instinctive, inherent gift was. And whether you are a Christian or not, there's a part in Proverbs that's actually brought out from Kemet in the wisdom of that. And if you look at it, it says that your gift will make room for you and bring you before great men. What does that mean? That your gift is what's going to expand your territory. Your gift is what's going to push you out into a space in where you can do things that the average person isn't doing, because your gift is connected to your purpose, and your purpose is the director towards your destiny. But what does the second part mean? Bring you before great men. Great men open doors. Great men present opportunities. Great men provide funding. Great men have connections. What does that mean? Absolutely nothing that you need to do in this world is inhibited. Why? Because your gift will what? Make room for you and bring you before great men. But when you don't know what your gift is, and you don't even know you're gifted, then people will literally see your gift, figure out how to use it for them, manipulate you, and tell you you're not really that valuable, pay you mediocre money, utilize your gift to enrich themselves, and leave you broke. One of the biggest problems you find with blacks, even on the planet, I mean, even on the continent of Africa, is we don't understand how things work. Go to Zambia. Zambia got its independence 1957. Zambia, like most African countries, has some rich mineral in its borders. It has copper. It has many copper mines. Zambia is in the way the economy is ran is extremely poor, despite having copper. They don't know how to mine the copper. So instead of developing or bringing someone in to teach them, they decided to sell the mining rights for mediocre money, all things considered. So they brought in a copper mining company, and the copper mining company bought the license to mine it indefinitely for $25 million. Now, they didn't pay up front $25 million. They got Zambia to agree for it to have it paid over time. They started mining the copper, and within 3 months made $75 million, paid Zambia from the money that they mined the company with, and took the rest of the proceeds. Now, all of this is happening while you got people on the streets dying, an extremely high HIV rate, and a bunch of other things that mine could have helped solve. But we don't understand how things work. That's what's happening with us everywhere in the diaspora, on the continent. It's happening because we don't understand how things work. And because we don't understand how things work, we keep getting manipulated. We keep getting exploited, and we keep complaining. You shared something I wrote. I actually told you this like probably 7 years ago when we were talking. And then I wrote about it later, and you took it, you shared it the other day, where I said black people are the most comfortable, uncomfortable people in the history of the universe. We uncomfortable by everything, but we ain't uncomfortable enough to do anything. Right. And that's the problem. You know, again, man, I didn't mean to get on my soapbox, but this can be so powerful if we take it and do what we are supposed to do with it. And the thing that we've got to get out of is self. Everybody's looking out for them. Oh, yeah, man. Everybody's looking out for them. So nobody cares what their behavior does to the rest of the collective. As long as I'm eating, you better get yours. Man. And so what happens is you got everybody out there looking out for one another, and you got division. Well, we already know that a house divided cannot stand with itself. And so they keep us divided. I mean, young against the old, male against female, all of this stuff is going on, and we don't understand that it's purposely being pushed upon us because we don't understand how things work. And so I'm gonna get off my soapbox, man. I'm gonna pass it back to you, Doc. But we have got to do better.
No, we appreciate that word, man. You know, everything you said is true. You just described basically us as a people, the whole entire African diaspora and African descent people. You just described us to a T. No matter what country we're in, we are economically exploited for the talents that we have or the resources that we have in the homelands that we come from. And part of your message and part of the message with the Teachas is we have to teach each other to do better, and we have to support one another. And that's what the whole message is. We've got to teach each one, teach one, and all of that.
Right.
Even if you're teaching yourself and you got to educate yourself and sit down and read something, that's where it came in with me. I had to sit down and start reading for real. I got to get this paperwork together because we getting exploited, and sometimes, I didn't got exploited by my own people. They always got their hand out, but don't want to put the work in.
Right. And the education we're going to get is not going to be from the institution. It's going to be from learning from each other and learning from our communities and asking them what they need and how we can serve them. My education grew the most after I got out of the institution. I'm sure Doc would agree that it was the same for him. Yeah, we got our bachelor's and our master's and our doctorate, but it's the education that I'm receiving right now from working with everyone that's on this show right now and everyone that's in our communities. That's the education that's gonna push us forward. Learning from each other. I learn from people every day, whether it's on social media or whether it's at the schools I work at and serve, in the school district I work for, and just people in the community. We got to learn from each other, because there are people out here like yourselves that are doing great work, and we're simply not supporting it. And I've talked to Doc about that a lot. We have to begin to finance the restoration of our people throughout the world. We have to finance it. If we don't, who will?
Yeah.
So I want to thank all of you for coming on. Ernest, Sane, Manab, Dr. Rick. We can go ahead and get out of here if you'll give us a final word, and we'll get out of here.
All right. What I'm going to do is, since this was really about the video, the official video for the Teachas, I'm going to close out by playing it again. We played it at the start. I'm going to close out by playing it again. And we're going to do that. But I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank everybody who is tuned in, who will watch this over the course of however many days from now. It's important that we get to the grassroots effort. Support the work of the people who are working in your area. If you see any of these young cats and it's something that you want to do with them, reach out to us. We will get you connected to them. If you want to get behind their projects, you want to work with them, get with us. We will connect you to them. Show some love and support for the work we're doing at the Odyssey Project with Black Man Lead, Restoring Ghetto's Forgotten Daughters, and others. It's extremely important that we have your support. Dr. Blanchard and I are constantly talking about wraparound services. We did a paper on school shootings last year, and we predicted we were going to be seeing this because despite $3 billion a year being put into school security, it's done in a way that actually antagonizes inner city children who are less likely to be mass shooters. And it still does not address the true nature of the problem. And we're actually going to be expanding on that, digging deeper on that, and we're going to be bringing that forth, and we're going to need your love on that as well. But when I say we love you, that we're committed and we're unapologetically committed to our Blackness, we mean it. And on that note, I am out of here. Here we are. We're going to play this video once again, and we will be talking to you soon. Everybody, peace. Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace here. Look, I have become convinced that we use the term education far too loosely. We have created a situation in which the term has become completely ambiguous. To me, education has always and still is the act of empowering and preparing our youth to go out into a world that is inherently hostile towards them and not only compete, but win. It is not simply the attainment of academic skills. It is the understanding of oneself. It is the understanding of one's role. It is the understanding of one's identity. It's embracing one's identity and using the gifts within that identity to go out and make a difference. It's time for a change.
So good morning, class. Tomorrow I will be taking a day off and we will be having a substitute teacher tomorrow, or teacher, because in Jamaica we don't say teacher, we say teacher.
My brothers and sisters of color, we gotta do better. No survival in this era if we turning on each other. Like a family reunited, they hate it when we together. Down, let's talk about it. Listen to the teachers, let them tell you. You want facts behind your questions, Dr. Rick, give them the answer. Followed by wise words, introducing Dr. Michael Blanche. Many guests and activists every week leading by example. When there's problems, there's solutions. Together we are the answer. The teachers. When I was young, thought as a child, but when I became a man, stand on my own with a smile. Life a lesson in this roller coaster, just go through the trials. Ancestors could have been royalty, with your lifestyle make them proud. Your education is not the learning of facts, let it sink. Preparation of training that's in your mind when you think. The actions of your behavior influences your belief. So the action in actuality makes it reality. Martin had a dream, people dying over materialistic things. Among your peers you can only talk women, cars and bling. We ain't on the same page, you don't want the same thing. How to build and expand. When I talk amongst kings, you should build your brother up when he fall back down. Nowadays they do it for the clout to get a laugh now. Do what you can, you pray the same love passed down. People selfish, they'll drain you till you pass out. Open your mind, pay attention, don't be a victim to the system. Some people physically locked up, some people mentally in prison. Removing the fathers, giving poor benefits to the women. Equality and economy, benefiting their business. My brothers and sisters of color, we gotta do better. No survival in this era if we turning on each other. Like a family reunited, they hate it when we together. Down, let's talk about it. Listen to the teachers, let them tell you. You want facts behind your questions, Dr. Rick, give them the answer. Followed by wise words, introducing Dr. Michael Blanche. Many guests and activists every week leading by example. When there's problems, there's solutions. Together we are the answer. The teachers.